Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here. Today we are talking partner labels, OCN Vinegar Syndrome partner labels, and a bunch of releases, a couple months worth of releases from several of them. A lot of these I haven't had a chance to check out yet, but I always like to keep you guys in touch with what's being put out because it's a lot, and there's just a lot to keep track of, really. So I just like to go through these, every month or so if I can. And I will start with the new VHSHitfest release. They'll probably have announced another release by the time this posts, but this is pretty great. I think I've talked about my love for this documentary, Adjust Your Tracking. This is from 2013, I think. Co-directed by both Dan Kinham and Levi Paratic, who, Dan's involved with VHSHitfest, and this is the documentary that they made about VHS collectors, and I'm a big fan of it. It's a very scrappy DIY kind of documentary, but I was really excited to see it when it came out, and they talked to some interesting collectors. And at the time in 2012, 2013, VHS collecting had been sort of niche, I think. I mean, it was like before vinyl collecting went mainstream, and so there's a lot of characters, a lot of really interesting dudes in this documentary. They do talk to Lloyd Kaufman, Tony Timpone, and Zach Carlson as well, but there's a lot of really fascinating guys in here, and including my friend Phil Blankenship of the New Beverly, and they all have good stories about why they collect, what they collect, a weird smelling tape, just strange things like that. And I love the way it's put together lovingly, and even the lower thirds are done with VHS, stickers. So if it says Dan Kinham, it will be handwritten on a VHS sticker. I just think that's a really nice touch. So this is a really nice Blu-ray debut of the documentary, and they really did a heck of a job with it because it's got a ton of stuff. It's a 2-disc set, and I also love how the discs themselves are like the spindles on VHS tapes, the circles. I think that's a nice touch. So you got 2 discs here. You've got your main feature on the first disc and a bunch of extras on the second disc. Basically, it's region-free, which is great. You have a new audio commentary with the filmmakers, and then you have 2 archival commentaries. They did some commentaries for the DVD release, so you have those as well. Hours of extended interviews, new retrospective interview with the directors, Dan and Levi, and then the producer as well. He is, what is his name? I'm going to just make sure. Matt Desiderio. I believe he works with Visual Vengeance Blu-ray label now. One of my favorite interviews on the disc is him in 2022 working at Forbidden Planet, a video store collectible type place in New York, and talking about sort of his regrets doing the movie, how it's sort of, did something to blow up VHS collecting in a way. I mean, it is that kind of movie. If you watched it in 2013 and you weren't collecting VHS, it did kind of make you want to collect VHS. So I could see how that happened. But he just has a really interesting take on, being kind of embarrassed for having done it, and how he watches Blu-rays now and streams movies, and, doesn't understand why people are so dead set on watching crappy movies on VHS because they can. And, this is a guy who's a collector and was into this stuff. And anyway, it's like an hour and 20 minutes. And part of it is him talking about 10 VHS tapes that he's gotten in the last 10 years, and they're like rare stuff, and some of them have come out, actually a couple of them have come out from Visual Vengeance. I won't say which, but you can watch the interview, and that part was a lot of fun. That was like a little segment that I enjoyed. But the Levi and Dan interview is about 51 minutes of them, having recollections of the film, and I haven't compared it to the commentary, so I don't know what kind of overlap there is, but there's even like 3 little short films. One of them about a place called Video Shelf, like a video store. Actually, a couple. A video store, I can't remember what Video Shelf is, but there's one about a video store in Staten Island as well that closed down. So they're just like 8 to 10 minute shorts about these things, and one of them's about Chester Turner, who made Tales of the Quadhead Zone and Black Devil Doll from Hell, and those are tapes that are discussed in the movie as highly rare tapes. And so anyway, really happy with this, and you can look for it on some streaming services. I can't remember if it's on like Tubi or somewhere, but it's available to watch if you want to check it out before you buy this disc. But it's a really worthwhile, packed with extra stuff disc, and I just barely scratched the surface on it, but I'm really glad I picked that one up. We can get into some stuff here we have AGFA. We'll start with some AGFA stuff. We have Video Diary of a Lost Girl, and this one is from 2012, and it's the feature film debut from writer-director Lindsay Denenberg and co-writer Chris Shields. It's a hyper-colored dreamland sort of thing that combines a love for genre film history with gorgeous handmade sort of aesthetic. And it's Lewis, played by Pris McEver, works in a video store, but she's also a demon and a descendant of a biblical demon mother, Lilith. Louise fills her predestined obligation to have sex with a man and then kill him every full moon. When she meets Charlie, that's Shields, a reincarnated partner from her past, Louise struggles to not do what she does best. Meticulously crafted with the use of repurposed materials and green screen, Video Diary is a Valentine to the VHS aesthetic and the exploration of personal themes via the guise of body horror. This one sounds fascinating. I'm always excited about whatever AGFA is doing. They are unearthing some really, really interesting and unique films, always. And it's almost always something I haven't heard of, and I love that too. So yeah, this one totally off my radar. Let's see here. It says the movie was influenced by everything from Liquid Sky to Rockula, from Heathers to Dead Ringers, resulting in an absurdist experimental horror comedy that was years ahead of its time. So very excited to check this out. I like any movie where there's a video store employee as one of the featured characters. So that's right up my alley. This is a region-free Blu-ray. It is preserved from the original digital video master. It includes a commentary with director Lindsay Denenberg and stars Pris McEver and film programmer Christina Cassiopo. And commentary with a second commentary with Lindsay Denenberg, co-writer and star Chris Shields, and star Casey Pacini, as well as behind-the-scenes featurettes, outtakes, trailers, short films. I love that they do that. They include short films here. So there's a lot of stuff to be found on Video Diary of a Lost Girl. You can definitely see the Liquid Sky influence for sure on the back. That's absolutely there. But yeah, AGFA Blu-rays, always something I look forward to and enjoy. And they're a treat, really. So let's talk about another one. This is an epic right here. This is an epic set. So this is called Terminal Generation, the films of John Moritsugu. And this is a big set of a bunch of films. And their description of the man, John Moritsugu, is that he was a force of nature since 1985. Underground icon John Moritsugu, in partnership with his wife Amy Davis, creates a candy-colored genre riots that feel like NC-17 sitcoms from outer space. Moritsugu's fearless protopunk destructions function as a giant middle finger to everything from racism to gender expectations, while also exploring themes of Asian American identity. Terminal Generation, the films of John Murotsugu, collects these joyous trash art ragers for the first time on widely released home video. From My Degeneration, a DIY answer to Beneath the Valley of the Dolls, to Terminal USA, an ultra 90s teen crime berserker that was funded by PBS, AGFA is honored to present sparkling new restorations of Murotsugu's essential work. So you have his work from 1987 to 2013. It's a combined running time of 519 minutes. It is 3 region-free Blu-rays. And we're talking about, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies and a bunch of shorts. So we have, on the first disc, My Degeneration, 1989, and Hippie Porn from 1991. These are both restorations from the 16mm camera negatives. And there's My Degeneration, an archival documentary with John Murotsugu and Amy Davis, and a short called Little Debbie's Snack Horror of New York City, 1987. Disc 2 has Terminal USA, 1993, and Mod F Explosion from 1994. Terminal USA restoration from the original 16 camera negative, commentary with John Murotsugu and Amy Davis, preserved from an audio cassette tape, a rough cut and a censored PBS cut, as well as a Fantastic Fest Zoom Q&A. Mod F Explosion restoration from the original 16 camera negative with 16mm print inserts, commentary with John Murotsugu and Amy Davis, preserved from audio cassette tape. I love that they recorded these on audio cassette. Commentary with AGFA's Elizabeth Purcell, and outtakes, as well as a short called Crack from 1999. And then disc 3 has Fame Horror from 1997, Scum Rock from 2002, and Pig Death Machine from 2013. And I can't remember which one of these it is, but I feel like one of them was, maybe it was one of the previous ones. Maybe it was MF Explosion. Was described like as, I want to say, West Side Story meets, I'm gonna have to look it up because it was a good description and a total seller for me as to like what this movie could be. And yeah, West Side Story meets Rumble in the Bronx meets A Clockwork Orange. That's all I really need to say about that one. Yeah, a Bizarre Tale of London, a lonely teen yearning for affection and a leather jacket who lives in a dysfunctional family home where her mother keeps popping and sexually playing with her other child. X-Ray, a member of a gang of mods who are constantly at war with a gang of Asian bikers. Amidst this turmoil, London and her soul mate M16 search for meaning in a phantasmagoria without it. Yeah, so that, I don't know. That one sounds fascinating. But anyway, Fame Horror, Scum Rock, and Pig Death Machine on the third disc. Fame Horror restoration from the original 16mm camera negative. Commentary with John Murotsugu and Amy Davis, preserved on audio cassette. Scum Rock preservation from Beta SP Tape Master. Outtakes, auditions, and camera tests also from that one. And Pig Death Machine preserved from Digital Master. And there's a booklet with a vintage interview as well. So this is a really epic, you know, filmmaker you probably haven't heard of, all in one, giving you this great sampling of the work. And yeah, it sounds like just incredible. Like John Waters enters my head a little bit when I'm reading this stuff, but it's obviously beyond that. It's obviously crazier in some ways than that, and just kind of nuts. So that's a really cool set. And again, I love when they, you know, take a filmmaker and highlight them and include multiple films, multiple shorts. I mean, these are not easy to put together, these kind of sets. So it's really something special when, especially somebody like AGFA does this. So that's great stuff. That's Terminal Degeneration, the films of John Murotsugu. Those are 2 AGFAs. Next we have Dream Life, which is the new one from Canadian International Pictures. Now, if you haven't watched my interview with David Marriott from CIP and Arbalos Films, you should go check that out. He talks about this one and does a better job probably than I will in defining what it is. I know it's the first feature film directed by a woman in Quebec, And it says Muriel Dansereau's fleet-footed and generous debut moves effortlessly between filmmaking styles and tones with boundless energy of a younger director with the medium. Path-breaking portrait of female friendship and interiority. Dream Life is one of the highlights of the 70s Canadian cinema and a vibrant hidden gem, prime for rediscovery. It says, after starting a new job at a local film production company, free-spirited Isabel meets animator Virginie, and the two become fast friends. Over the course of a freewheeling, sun-dappled summer, the pair deepen their bond through a shared exploration of ambition and desire. I do remember him saying something about coming of age, and it sounds like this is a real, stylish, interesting movie. This is from 1972. This is a Region A Blu-ray, restored in 2K from the original 16mm camera negative by Elephant Mémoire de Cinéma Québécoise. A feminine point of view this is one of the featurettes included. That's brand new. 22-minute new interview with director Muriel Dansereau. And in the early years, 23-minute interview. Dansereau reflects on her early shorts and documentaries. Let's see here. 3 of Dansereau's early films are included here. One Day from 1967, 11 minutes. Compromise from 1968, 26 minutes. And Forum from 1969, 58 minutes. Markets of London, 1996, 24 minutes. That's another Dansereau short. Shot in 69, completed 27 years later. Trailers for some of the shorts. Booklet featuring conversation between Dansereau and film journalist A. Ibrani Kiss. Versatile artwork. Subtitles on all 5 films. So this is another one that follows the last set from AGFA pretty well in terms of including all the shorts. You have this one specific film and then a bunch of shorts from this filmmaker to give you a real sense of what their place in film, history is, if you will, in terms of Canadian film history. And, so you get one of their this is apparently a really big deal film and one that I hadn't heard of. So I'm always excited by that kind of stuff. And then all the shorts to give you much more of context. But lots of interviews, great stuff from Canadian International Pictures. Next up we have Deaf Crocodile, another winning partner label from OCN. And this is The Pied Piper from 1986, Czechoslovakian film, 53 minutes. Director Jiří Barta's stop-motion animated masterpiece based on the Pied Piper of Hamelin is set in a dark and twisted medieval village of narrow streets and weird Gothic arches, half Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and half Jean Van Eyck. The money-obsessed citizens carved out wood blocks and speaking in onomatopoeic babble are like George Gro's caricatures, literally spouting coins from their mouths instead of words. The rats are far more organic and sympathetic, made of real fur and whiskers, constantly tunneling and burrowing under the towering arches and cobblestone streets above. In one of the film's many surreal moments, a rat emerges from a gargoyle's gaping maw. Fans of fellow Czech animation legend Jan Svankmajer and Brothers Quay will adore Barta's eerie, expressionistic gem, recently restored for its first ever U.S. Blu-ray release through Kratky Film Praha, Deaf Crocodile, and Comeback Company. Barta's mastery of all aspects of filmmaking are evident. Staging, production design, lighting, animation, editing, sound, and music combine into dark worlds of repression and a revolt with ironic conclusions. That's a quote from Phil Tippett, who's obviously a fan. And, if you haven't seen Mad God, you should really watch Mad God, Phil Tippett's movie, which is an incredible, display of stop-motion animation in and of itself. But this sounds right up my alley with the comparisons to Svankmajer and Brothers Quay, and Phil Tippett praise. This kind of stop-motion animation sounds fascinating to me. So really cool stuff. Region A Blu-ray, new restoration from Kratky Film Praha and Craig Rogers of Deaf Crocodile, new restoration of rare short film Jiří Barta's The Vanished World of Gloves, a marvelous and eccentric tour through cinema history told through animated gloves, 1982, 16 minutes. Chronicle of the Pied Piper, Chronica Crisare, a behind-the-scenes documentary on the making of Barta's masterpiece. 1985, 13 minutes, in Czech with English subtitles, as is the film itself, I think. Oh no, it's silent. It's a silent film, the main feature. Okay, so new video interview with director Jiří Barta, moderated by Denis Bartok of Deaf Crocodile, audio commentary by Czech film expert Irina Kovarova of Comeback Company, and film critic and historian Peter Hames. Booklet essay by Czech film expert Irina Kovarova. New artwork by Brian Level. Blu-ray authoring by David Mackenzie of Fidelity in Motion. So another totally off my radar, definitely never heard of it, gem, with some cool-looking stop-motion animation. Definitely sounds up my alley. And next we have another Deaf Crocodile. We have Heroic Times. Now, this one is from 1983. It says, a crime is a crime even if committed by kings, intones the narrator of director Joseph Gemme's animated portrait of the supposedly heroic age of medieval knights and kings, sprawling and bloody tapestry of ruthless combat to rival Game of Thrones. Based on an epic narrative poem by 19th century Hungarian writer János Arany, Heroic Times has a unique visual style combining gorgeous oil paintings and 2D animation, similar to the Japanese anime Belladonna of Sadness. Well, that's a great touchstone for me. Stylistically, the film is closer to sweeping medieval sagas like Alexander Petrushko's Ilya Muromets, or John Borman's Excalibur, and Ralph Bakshi's underrated version of The Lord of the Rings, tied together by the battle-wearied voice of the narrator. Quote, I haunted the alien streets as a spirit withered times. Winner of the Feature Film Award at the 1985 Annecy Animated Film Festival, the long unseen Heroic Times has been newly restored by the NFI, the National Film Institute Film Archive in Hungary, for its first ever U.S. release by Deaf Crocodile. 1983, 79, 137-1, Hungarian mono. Region A Blu-ray restoration of 4K restoration of Heroic Times by NFI. New commentary track by film historian Sam Deegan. Always welcome and always enjoy her work. New essay by film historian and professor Jennifer Lind Barker. Short film Concertissimo, 1968, 3 minutes. In this scathing anti-war satire, an elegant crowd gathers at the concert hall to hear a very different kind of orchestra perform. Short film Parade, 1969, 5 minutes. A beautiful hand-painted short about the absurdity of military dress parades. Short film Funeral, 1973 minutes. A solemn and tearful funeral is interrupted by unexpected laughter in Gemme's Black Comic Gem. New video interview with Heroic Times animator Sandor Bekesi, moderated by Denis Bartok of Deaf Crocodile. New video interview with Georgi Raduli, director of the National Film Institute Film Archive of Joseph Gems and the History of Hungarian Animation, moderated by Denis Bartok. Blu-ray authoring by David Mackenzie of Fidelity in Motion. So another fascinating sounding animated. I love that Deaf Crocodile has placed a premium on, bringing these, European, non-US animated films to their label. They're just really the kind of stuff they're bringing out. As a fan of animation, I gotta say I'm really impressed with them and excited that they continue to put some emphasis on that kind of filmmaking, because it's really, I don't know, seeing this stuff from other countries is just right up my alley. Anyway, on to Enjoy the Ride Media, ETR. First we have Don't Fall in Love with Yourself, which is a documentary that explores the enigmatic life of the enigmatic musician and artist Justin Pearson, from childhood tragedy to his rise in the San Diego punk scene. Don't Fall in Love with Yourself takes an in-depth look at the career made out of blood, sweat, and spit. Much of the footage has been sourced from dozens of VHS and mini DV tapes recorded over the past 3 decades, with never-before-seen footage of one of the most interesting and unique musical movements in recent memory. Interviews include Justin Pearson, Dave Lombardo, Eric Paul, Gabe Serbian, Jason Pettigrew, Travis Ryan, Jeremy Boehm, John Syverson, Molly Newman, and more. Directed by John Nix. This is a 2023 documentary, 93 minutes in English. Region-free Blu-ray with 20-plus additional minutes of interview footage, a director commentary, live footage of The Locust, trailers, and English subtitles. So a documentary about somebody I've never heard of, but certainly looks fascinating on stage. And yeah, this is definitely going to be something that I think I'm going to dig, for sure. I like this kind of look behind the scenes at an artist of this type. Another ETR Enjoy the Ride release. We have The Outwaters. And this is a 2023 film. Let chaos take you to a place beyond the hills where thunder echoes off the canyons and choirs of coyotes pierce the midnight sky. Deep in the Mojave Desert, under a scorching blood-red sun, 4 travelers have set up camp. They came to make art. They came to commune with nature. They came to laugh and swim and sing and love. They came to vanish. One fateful night, the group is thrust into a feverish tornado of flayed flesh and mind-boggling monstrosities, the likes of which mere humans simply cannot fathom. In a stretch of land covered by shallow Paleozoic seas, what horrors might surface? I love this description here. An owl's cry, the rattlesnake's hiss, a wail in the darkness. There is no mirage. This is really happening. I don't even know what this is talking about, but it sounds kind of trippy to me, man. Sounds kind of trippy. Directed by Robbie Banafich. 2023, 110 minutes. This is a Region A Blu-ray starring Angela Basolis, Michelle May, Robbie Banfitch, Scott Schammel, and Leslie Ann Banfitch. A family affair. Essay booklet, Card Zero prequel short film, file VL 624 epilogue short film, theatrical teaser, theatrical trailer spots, character clip shots, audio commentary by detectives Stacy and Nako, director Robbie Banfitch, and actor Scott Schammel. Michelle May, all the pretty little horses in memoriam music video as well. So yeah, this one I've heard some people are digging, and it was a movie that was not something I'd heard of, but definitely sounds fascinating and cryptic, which I like. Okay, next we have from Decanalog. This one is The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things. And Decanalog, of course, a label I would recommend going back and checking out the interview I did with Elijah Drenner, who's one of the folks involved with that label. This one specifically says, steeped in controversy, unflinching, unforgettable, Decanalog is proud to present Asia Argento's adaptation of J.T. Leroy's best-selling novel, The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things, a searing exploration of trauma and survival in the underside of America's heartland, headlining one of the most intriguing casts of the 2000s, which includes Peter Fonda, Ornella Muti, Jeremy Renner, Lydia Lunch, Ben Foster, and Winona Ryder. Argento stars as Sarah, a woman who rips her son, played at various points by Jimmy Bennett, Dylan, and Cole Sprouse, out of foster care and throws him into her transient life as a sex worker at truck stops. Leroy was later revealed to be a fabrication of author Laura Albert and her sibling-in-law Savannah Coop, a story that broke the year after The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things was released. Argento's blistering second feature finds real pain in a historic hoax, traveling to dark places most directors fear to tread. So Asia Argento, of course, daughter of Dario Argento, and I wasn't even aware that she'd made this film. I'm less up on her filmmaking career. This is from 2004, 97 minutes, but that's quite a cast, you know. Dylan Sprouse, Cole Sprouse, Jeremy Renner, Lydia Lunch, Marilyn Manson, Peter Fonda, Ben Foster. I'm in. I got to see what exactly this is. New 2K restoration from a 35mm interpositive produced in 2023. Audio commentary with director Asia Argento and producer Chris Hanley. Lot Lizards and Meth Labs behind-the-scenes featurette. JT Undercover featurette. New York film premiere and party featurette. U.S. theatrical trailer. Booklet essay by filmmaker Jillian Horvat. So that's cool. Good stuff. Another neat-looking decanalog release, another movie that I wasn't aware of. So that's The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things. Then we have a couple from Saturn's Core. Of course, famous for their SOV stuff. And this first one is Tortured Soul. And just double checking that. Tortured Soul. Let's see here. Saturn's Core. A scarcely seen and distributed regional SOV slasher saga. The Tortured Soul trilogy is a masterwork of legendary Minneapolis, Minnesota filmmaking madman Michael W. Johnson, serial killer massacre, blood kiss, Tales from the Cannibal Side, whose features were notorious for pushing the boundaries of extreme violence and graphic sexual content far beyond that of his 90s SOV contemporaries, featuring performances by horror legend Kira Shawn, Night of the Living Dead, Scream Queen Stephanie Beaton, an AVN-nominated porn starlet, A.V. Scott. Saturn's Core is proud to present the first ever director's-approved release of the Tortured Soul trilogy, freshly packed with an abundance of new and archival special features. It's our most exhaustive and comprehensive set to date, with over 9 hours of content spread across 2 fully loaded Blu-ray discs. So it's a 2-disc set. In Tortured Soul, 1992, a psychotic cannibalistic serial killer named Stevie and his equally demented, dim-witted brother Ike are terrorizing Minnesota's Twin Cities, savagely eviscerating nude young women in their homes and devouring their remains. When an innocent cyclist is kidnapped and murdered, her vengeful boyfriend, Mike Hamilton, Michael W. Johnson, becomes determined to track down the killers and exact a bloody revenge of his own. In Tortured Soul 2, Ike and Mike, 1994, the stocking-clad killer Ike returns and continues his murderous rampage. Goaded even further into insanity by the spectral voice of his deceased brother Stevie, Ike begins slaughtering the family and his friends of his nemesis Mike, culminating in a barbaric creekside fight to the death. And in Tortured Soul 3, The Willing Flesh, 2004, a buxom criminology student, Stephanie Beaton, attempts to interview Mike for her thesis on the Black River slayings. As the pair become romantically entangled, the murder of nubile females begins anew. Is Ike still alive? Is there a copycat killer on the loose, or was it all just a hallucination of a delusional psychotic mind? So that's the trilogy, 1992 to 2004, 204 minutes combined, 133 to 1. This is a region-free Blu-ray. So disc 1 has Tortured Soul, 1992, 52 minutes. That has new and archival introductions by writer and director Michael W. Johnson, audio commentary with writer and director Michael W. Johnson, Capturing the Underbelly of America, a new 2023 featurette with writer-director Michael W. Johnson, and then Tortured Soul 2, Ike and Mike, 1994, 79 minutes, audio commentary again with writer-director Michael Johnson. God Forbids, Tortured Soul 2, new 2023 featurette with writer-director Michael W. Johnson, archival cast and party outtakes. Disc 3, Tortured Soul 3, The Willing Flesh from 2004. That has audio commentary with writer-director Michael W. Johnson. Everything Old is New Again, a 2023 featurette with writer-director Michael W. Johnson. He's really committed and all over this, which is great. Meets Meat, A Man's Gotta Eat, Michael W. Johnson's 1990 SOV cannibal-themed short film, 36 minutes, and The Smell of Death, Michael W. Johnson's 1991 SOV zombie-themed short film, 45 minutes, plus Michael W. Johnson memorabilia tour, Nightmare Productions Trailer Vault, Ike and Mike Slashes and Strikes, a 28-page booklet featuring rare archival materials, plus new writings by author Vincent Albarano, Aesthetics, Deviations, a critical view of American SOV horror, film journalist Art Edinger, Ultraviolent, and writer-filmmaker Johnny Dickey, Slaughter Tales. So that is a whole lot of stuff, I gotta say. I've got more from Saturn's Core. The next one is called Blood Feast. Different Blood Feast. This is Blood Feast, The Adventures of Sergeant Lunch. And it says, when wrongdoers and lawbreakers are on the prowl, there's only one man for the job. Meet Sergeant A.I.T. Lunch. Al T. Lunch, sorry. IOU1 PD's most diligent and decorated officer with over 300 arrests under his belt, Sergeant Luntz is revered by his peers, beloved by his community, and a prominent subject of interest for local ace reporter Mary Lowdown of the Daily Tattletale. That is until Lunch's vengeful and envious twin brother, Feast, constructs the ultimate killing machine, a superhuman, Terminator-esque cyborg known as the Annihilator, who marauds through the city, maiming and mutilating innocent citizens. To make matters worse, Feast has disguised himself as his do-gooding twin and committed acts of robbery and murder in order to sully Lunch's good name. With his reputation tarnished and his job on the line, Lunch must do battle with the Annihilator and put to an end Feast's reign of terror once and for all. Shot during downtime by a group of friends stationed at California's Fort Ord military base in 1991, Blood Feast: The Adventures of Sergeant Lunch is a SOB comedy horror action mashup displaying unbridled filmmaking imagination and youthful exuberance of writer-director Dave Palomero. Murder Made Easy, In Heaven There Is No Beer, and boasting potentially dangerous amateur stunts, innovative homespun Steadicam gymnastics, and a plethora of gaudy 90s fashion. Saturns Core is proud to issue the first ever physical media release of Sergeant Lunch, featuring a director-curated collection of featurettes, rare outtakes, and early video short video works. 1992, 63 minutes. Region-free Blu-ray. New transfer from SVHS Master Tape. Audio commentary with director Dave Palomaro. One Pizza, One Donut. New 2023 featurette with Dave Palomaro and actor Steve Station. A tribute to Dean Galanis, friend and fellow SCV filmmaker featurette. Sergeant Lunch Deleted Scenes. The Toxic Kid, Sergeant Lunch prequel from 91. 36 minutes. Milton's Laundry, Dave Palomaro's 1993 SOV feature newly scanned from SVHS Master, 41 minutes. Rare outtakes from Milton's Laundry. Reversible sleeve. Trailers, Dave Palomaro. Short films, Cookies and Lobster Please from 1990. Hockey Man from 92. Cops in Allentown from 93. Losing My Religion from 93. Leaving That Thing Alone from 94. And The Black Wolf Project from 1999. So that is it for Saturns Core, but a couple winners, it sounds like, from them in terms of the trilogy, Tortured Soul trilogy, and Blood Feast. Give Me Pity. Now this one is from Utopia. It says a primetime Saturday Night Network television spectacular starring Sissy St. Clair. Sissy St. Clair graces the small screen for her first ever television special, an evening full of music and laughter, glamour, and entertainment. But Sissy's live event quickly begins to curdle into a psychedelic nightmare of vanity, insecurity, and delusional ambition provoked by the glowering presence of a mysterious masked man. Directed by Amanda Kramer from 2021, starring Sophie Van Hasselberg and Sissy St. Clair. 133-1. Region A. Costume-fitting Polaroids video gallery is included, a director's commentary with Amanda Kramer and Sophie Von Hasselberg, and behind-the-scenes photo gallery, behind-the-scenes rehearsal videos, subtitles. So that is from 2021. I don't know anything about it. The back of it does make it look pretty fascinating and gaudy and psychedelic for sure. Definitely interested in that. Give Me Pity. And last but not least, we have Full Time. And this is from Music Box Selects. And it says, Julie Laurie Calamy, Call My Agent, is a single mother who can't catch a break, raising two children in the Paris suburbs and commuting to the city daily. The train is her lifeline until it's suddenly severed by a transit strike. Without the train, Julie struggles to make it into her job at a 5-star hotel, to the interview for a better job she's tied her hopes to, or back home to pick up her kids from childcare. Before long, Julie is at her breaking point. As her responsibilities pile up, she finds herself bending the rules to stay afloat in a cutthroat society. Anchored by Calamy's dynamic performance, Full Time is a race against the clock and a kinetic real-world thriller about the obstacles working parents face every day. Directed by Eric Gravel, starring Laurie Calamy. 2022, 88 minutes, 235-1, French, DTS, Region A Blu-ray. Fascinating sounding movie, you know, a thriller made out of a sort of daily commute troubles, you know, which I could see being pretty tense as a parent. I know it's not cool when you can't get to work on time and you can't get back to pick up your kids, and that sounds pretty engaging to me, actually, and anxiety inducing. This includes a new feature audio commentary by film critic Sam Deegan. Again, always love her work. Interview with director Eric Gravel. Filmmaker Q&A from French Film Festival UK. Isolated score and sound design tracks. So it must have some intense score sound design that helps elevate the tension. Theatrical trailer and TV spots. English subtitles as well. So that will do it for this round of OCN Vinegar Syndrome partner label titles. Lots of stuff here to check out, and I am very anxious to dive into these, but wanted to give you guys the lowdown on what they are in case you want to place these into your cart for your next Vinegar Syndrome order. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.